Just look at the sky. Good morning, and welcome back for another morning of photography. So my plan for this morning is to photograph a really nice beach that's behind me. That's at low tide right now, but the sun hasn't quite come up yet, and there's this beautiful pond in front of me, beautiful pink glow, and a strip of trees right here. So I figured that would probably make a nice image. And you can also see a row of, you can't see on the camera very well, but there's also a row of seagulls in the water as well with like pink glow from the sunrise. So it's a nice picture. Just look at the sky. It is absolutely stunning. And the water in front of me just has this epic pink glow. I haven't had to be moving very far recently to find pictures I like. I've just come up sort of over the dune here, and there's this lovely, I don't know, rock formation, and I'm gonna try and capture an image of it. The sun is just about to peek over the horizon, so might be some nice light over on the beach here shortly. I suppose I should mention where I'm at. I'm at Anchorage Provincial Park on Grand Manan, which is an island in New Brunswick in the middle of the Bay of Fundy. And if you watched last week's video, same island, totally different landscape, different area. Last week I was out photographing some cliffs at sunset. This morning I'm photographing the beach at sunrise. And I have a composition here lined up that I'm quite happy with. The frame I'm working with has sort of these rocks as the main subject in the middle of the frame, and then just above it there's a little strip of water with some more rocks in the far background, and then a foggy sky. And then in the foreground of the image there's a strip of these seagrasses, then seaweed, then sand, then tide, like really low tide as the tide's going out. And I don't know, it's quite nice. There's layers, there's no real living lines, and there's no real light at the moment. So I've taken a picture just to make sure I have it, but I'm gonna wait here and hopefully some nice light comes out. That seagull just dropped some kind of a clam from the sky on a rock. That is cool. I've buried my microphone. Yeah, okay. So that seagull, he was flying around and I heard a thud. He's dropping clams or some kind of mollusk from the sky onto a rock. And I've heard of different birds doing that as a method to open food and, I mean, less energy for them. But I've never seen it myself, so that's pretty cool. The light has just started to poke through, and I think this might be the best image I get of these rocks, at least for now. I may come back if I see any super dramatic light on them, but I'm working with a shutter speed of 1/25 of a second, f10, ISO 160, manual focus. I don't know, sometimes I find the autofocus doesn't quite work perfectly, so I use a mix of both, but this image will be nice and sharp. Walking along this beach, there's all kinds of cool seaweed, cool rocks, nice grass. But the one thing that's been sticking out to me, I'm just being careful not to step on a really pretty one. Here's just an example. So as the tide's coming in and out, it's rushing around. This is either from water rushing off the rock or from seaweed being like thrown on the beach and dragged back down. And if you look top down on them, like from here, it looks sort of like those drone pictures from like Iceland or over any big river delta with all like the different tributaries like shooting off. So I'm gonna try and capture an image of a particularly nice set of those drag marks. The first image that I kind of was thinking with these, oh no, I probably just started with some good ones. I wanted to get some nice patterns in the sand, but I also wanted to get either a rock or a piece of seaweed that looked quite pleasing, sort of to tell the story of how those lines got there. So the scene I'm working with is directly beneath my tripod right now, and we have a rock, piece of seaweed, and a piece of seaweed. And it comes together quite nicely. I don't think I got any footprints in it. And it's quite nice. There's a long straight piece of seaweed in the top left, bright purple seaweed in the middle, and rock on the bottom right. And it looks quite nice. I really like this picture. As easy as that. Now I'm on the hunt to find the best standalone pattern in the sand. I want to find one that just looks really pleasing and nothing else in it. Just nice fine grains of sand with nice patterns running down it. This might be it. This might be the one. The reason I've chosen these marks, I'm gonna call them skid marks, is that they start out really long and really close together. And then when you go throughout the scene, like this way, then they get shorter and farther apart. And it's a nice gradient in the image, nice patterns. And I have it framed up, excuse me, quite simply. And settings are really similar to the previous image. Shutter speed of 1/10 of a second, f13, ISO 160. Onwards. Well, I'm not sure how good of an image this is, but I'll tell you one thing it has going for it. A ridiculous amount of leading lines from where I'm standing here with my camera out to the same rock formation that I photographed earlier. It's simple. I don't think there's enough going on, or maybe the rocks aren't quite interesting enough. It's missing something. The foreground's quite pleasing and interesting, but it doesn't lead to anything too dramatic. I tried getting a lot lower to the ground as well. That didn't really seem to make a difference. And this is the best composition I've settled on, so. As I'm walking to these rocks over here, I'm just realizing I need to get better at interpreting where the sunrise and sunset light is going to actually illuminate. So last night I checked where sunset would be. And obviously I know where it's gonna be. Like, I can use a compass and I have apps and stuff to see where the sun's gonna set. Same thing for this morning. I knew where it was gonna rise, but I predicted incorrectly where the light would be sort of in the surroundings. So I knew the sun was gonna rise over here, but I thought it would cast more light this way, and it didn't. And I'm wondering if that's because of clouds, or if I am not sure how to predict where the light's gonna be, which is quite possible. So if you have any tips on how I can more accurately determine what will be illuminated or what will be glowing in the morning or at sunset, please leave a comment and let me know. I've just soaked my feet. I was on this kind of stuff, which is squishy but totally fine. Then I was over here setting up my tripod, and this is squishy and not fine. You sink into it, and I now have cold, wet feet. So one thing I'm pretty confident that I need to improve on in order to get better images is have more interesting foreground subjects. So these boulders in front of me, totally covered in seaweed, I think are the great time to practice that. And I've lined up a first composition. It's all right. I think I have another one lined up next, but it's sort of this boulder in the foreground, then following this kind of crack out to those ones in the background. And 1/50th of a second, f9, ISO 160. Man, the sun's been up for over an hour now, but now everything is getting nice and lit up with golden light. These shiny saltwater seaweed covered rocks are hopefully going to treat me nicely. Well, that beautiful light I had just a minute ago is gone, and I'm a little worried I didn't take advantage of it to the full potential. It took me a while to find a composition I'm happy with, and I don't even know if I'm fully happy with it, but this cool looking rock, foreground subject, and then follow out this little stream through the rocks, and then you can see one of these islands sort of in the background. And shot at 25th of a second, f9, ISO 160. It's okay. I'm trying to figure out ways to put things more in the foreground. So it's a learning process, but here you go. All morning, I've been trying not to disturb these seagulls that have been just hanging out on these rocks and skimming around in the shallows. And this lady just brought down her dog and let them run loose and scared every single bird away. Good for you, lady. I understand wanting to let your dog run around, but don't let them do that, please. I think I just put a footstep in the image I was about to take. See what I can do. That battery's also about to die. Oh God. What a series of events. And just in case you weren't keeping track, the series of events was I stepped in my composition, my camera battery died mid-picture, and then this camera fell. So that is the trifecta of bad luck. Okay, well, if that's not a sign that this photography session is almost over, I don't know what is. I'm going to try and get one more image, sort of similar idea to the last image, but I think this one will turn out a little bit better. Seaweed covered rock foreground, another stream with nice patterns in the sand and some rocks, then going out to the ocean. And it's fairly simple. I think it might be a little too heavy on the right-hand side of the image. I don't think the stream necessarily covers enough or carries enough weight on the left-hand side, but I think it's quite nice. Those are the dogs. I don't know if you could tell, but that was the dog that just came barking at me that was chasing the seagulls. I'm sure Axel is a super nice dog, and I hold no ill will towards Axel, but owners of Axel, you guys kind of suck. Tiny change of plans. I actually zoomed in a bit more, took out that rock that was sort of in the foreground of the image, And now the image starts with that stream in the right and the left-hand side, followed by the big patch of seaweed leading out to the ocean with 2 islands in the background. And I think this looks much, much better. There's no real interesting light on the scene. So it's super, like, the highlights are really bright and the shadows are very dark. But I think in post I can balance it out and make it look really interesting. And this might actually be my favorite image of the morning. With that image, I think that might be the end of my morning. All in all, it's been a great morning. I've taken a couple other snapshots just around the beach, and I'll share those at the end. And I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you liked some of the images. If you didn't like the images, let me know and tell me what I could have done better. And I'll see you on the next one.